All right, everybody. It's for me the last presentation of GEG Asia Pacific Ignition EDU 25. This is our small event that we're launching for the first time this year in January as we kick off the new year, because we want to make our main event at a different time of year when people have a little bit more time to participate and enjoy. So keep an eye out for that. Later on, I'm going to share a link to Google Educator Group Asia Pacific, to our website and events that are coming up, and where you might find a GEG in your area a little bit later on. And the resources I used today, I'll be sharing a link with that, plus a link to a certificate for those of you that are watching in real time and would like a certificate for participating. I am watching you online, so please, I'm looking at your comments, by the way. If you're watching this in real time, please let us know where you're viewing from, and give us any of your ideas. All right. Now, this session is on Google GeoTools, so I'm not going to get too much into talking about other things because you're here for a reason. Let's see. And this is the tab I want to use. All right. Now, okay, folks. So I'm just keeping an eye here to the, okay, great. It looks like I'm sharing the right tab here. So yeah, this is Be an Explorer, bring the world to your classroom. We're going to look at a few different tools that you might want to use in your own class. I'm going to show mostly examples, not how to. However, I do have videos on my socialstudiessamurai.com website and YouTube channel that you can access. And I've got links to those videos directly here if you want to learn how to make some of this really cool stuff. So without further ado, in this session, we are going to look at primarily Google Earth projects, Google Arts and Culture, Google My Maps. I'll talk a little bit about Google Expeditions. ExpeditionsPro is back now, but it's still got a little bit of work ahead of it to be something people might actually use. I want to talk about a few other ideas you might want to think about by using 360 imagery to tell stories and learn about places around the world. In fact, if I remember, maybe we'll talk about GeoGuessr, which is kind of fun for a little brain break activity for your students. So without further ado, my name is Nate Gildart. I teach at Nagoya International School in central Japan. Nagoya is kind of right between Tokyo and Osaka. I teach diploma program history and middle years program individuals and societies. So that's why the examples you're going to see are largely from that subject or those subject areas. I'm an educational technology consultant on the side, but really I'm a teacher and I just love using technology in my class if it seems to fit what we're doing. And I'll show you how you can get in touch with me or stay in touch a little bit later on. All right, so we're going to look at, maybe this is a different thing. A lot of this stuff actually is largely about storytelling. We're looking at GeoTools, but GeoTools really, it tells us the story of a place and sometimes of a time and that kind of thing. So we're going to look at a number of different things today. I do want to emphasize that if you use some of these tools to make things in your class, or if you teach your students to make things with these tools in your classroom, you really want to keep an open mind and have your students really thinking about how they represent the world or parts of the world when they're using these tools. So for example, equity and honesty, right? You want to really try to find any particular stereotypes that might exist or that you might have in order to make sure that you're not supporting stereotypes or, things like that. When you're creating stuff using these Google GeoTools, and when you're interpreting data with GeoTools as well. Think about your audience too. Excuse me. When I create things using these tools, I tend to make them for a secondary audience, right? Students roughly grade 5, 6, and above. So the text that I use, the vocabulary, the amount of text, the kinds of images, they're all really for that age group. So keep that in mind, right? You don't want images of like serious violence, with a student that's in grade 3. You can talk about violence, but, maybe showing kids that age, that stuff isn't really the best idea, right? I also recommend that when you make anything with these tools, do your research first, take your notes and type things first, get your links to any images and video and things that you want to embed, because when you go to actually make the thing, it's going to go a lot more quickly. Get all your stuff together first. Also, Make sure you add citations and credits and things like that. Whenever you make something, you want to show where you got your pictures or your videos or even your ideas, right? Your research. Always, as a teacher, model academic honesty. Show your students that you're doing what you expect of them, and always expect your students to demonstrate academic honesty. And by that too, have your videos and images and links and all that ready, because it's going to go a lot more quickly. Now, National Geographic and Adobe had some free courses where you could learn to do a lot of stuff like this. Whoa, that didn't work out. Here, let's click on that and see if it's going to take us to where we want to be. So, for example, storytelling for impact. So Nat Geo has a number of different free online courses that you can do. I won't get into that right now, but if you look at National Geographic and their education website, they've got a lot of cool stuff that can teach you how to incorporate some of these geo ideas in other ways. But I'm going to come back to our session right now. So let's talk a little bit about YouTube. YouTube has like a wide range of really cool stuff that you might use or that you might want to use for your classes, right? Lots of geography-based stuff on YouTube. I'm going to give you an example of it's selfishly my own thing here. All right, so this is my own YouTube channel where I have 360 videos of different places in Japan where I'm talking about the cultural history. And there are loads and loads of things like this on YouTube. Let me just go with Todaiji here. It's a new one. Seems to be getting a little bit of traction. We're at Todaiji Temple. Right. So basically, you can find online things like rebuilt this Buddhist statue that we're going to look at in a minute. Whoops. I didn't mean to go back that far. Yeah. We are at Kofukuji in boom. There, let me just pause this for a moment. So I think 360 videos really give you the opportunity to kind of be a little bit more immersed, right? Really think about really think about using 360 imagery in your class, and YouTube's got loads and loads of really cool stuff that you might use. Now, what I want to show you is how you can actually search for this kind of stuff. So let's just go, I don't know, like Iceland, volcanoes, and I haven't spelled that correctly, but it knows what I meant. Okay, so now I'm looking for volcanoes in Iceland, right? If you go to the top right here, you can see that we have a little filters thing, right? Let's say I want to look for something a little bit more cool, a little more dynamic for my students. Well, what I've done is by clicking the filters, I've added 360 degrees as something that I want. And maybe a video, let's say, under 4 minutes kind of thing, because I don't want to spend too much time on it. So here we go. Now I've got 360 videos that are all under 4 minutes that I might use about, I guess, volcanism in Iceland kind of thing. So again, think about using YouTube and think about using those filters to find that perfect video for yourself. Okay, so, and again, find those playlists too. Often there's playlists with these kinds of things, which I think are neat. Now, you yourself might want to think about creating 360 images, particularly if you travel a lot or if you use a lot of examples from your hometown or your home country, perhaps. It's not really that expensive. You can find 360-degree cameras where you can take photos and videos with your audio. There's loads of different kinds. This is the one that I use, the Ricoh Theta 5, which is now actually old, but it does a great job. I'm just throwing that out there for you. Okay, now let's talk about Google Earth projects. I'm so into Google Earth projects. I've always got 2 or 3 on the go. Feels like some of them are never finished. So what are Google Earth projects? And I'm going to show you in a minute. First, they are multimedia and interactive experiences where you as the teacher or the students can create a tour using Google Earth. And I'm going to show you what it looks like in a moment. But what I like about this is that you have all the privacy. You've got the ability to collaborate. You could have 20 students working on one Earth project at the same time. It's fairly intuitive, meaning it's fairly user-friendly. And you can import and export data files. if you want to collaborate with people across the world kind of thing too, right? Find a class and, okay, let's create a tour that, where you're telling about your country and we're telling about ours kind of thing. You can embed images and video and all that kind of stuff. It's really cool. So let's have a look at a couple of things. Like, I don't know, let's go with discoveries that changed history. Let's go with this one. I really like this. Okay, so I've set this up so that I've got a landing page where there's one image kind of thing. Doesn't go straight into the tour. And I've got, like my image credits here. I've got a little description of what it is. Now, there's different ways that you could view the tour. Now, think in class, this is how you could use it. Number one, it could be a jigsaw activity where students in groups choose one place to go, or every student in your class chooses one place to go. And then they teach after reading and looking at the videos I've embedded. They teach the rest of the class about the one place they were looking at. Or this could be a place to start, sparking the interest of a topic. In this case, it could be archaeology. I'm teaching archaeology. Let's get students interested by looking at these archaeological discoveries that changed how we see or understand history. So you could do a jigsaw activity. Another way, what you could do is use this for, there's 10 minutes left in class. Okay, go to the school or go to the class Google Earth project and find one place to look at, and then write about it in your journal, or do some kind of thing with it, right? Whether it's journaling or doing an exit ticket, you could use it to fill a little bit of time, right? So it's 3 ideas here. 1, filling time, of course. 2, doing a jigsaw activity with students. 3, using it as a way to spark interest in an upcoming unit or topic. Now, if I want, I could tap on any of these and it's going to take me to where I want to go. Note here too, I've got a little short quiz at the bottom here. Or I could just click on the arrows and go one at a time. So it's going to take me from one place to another. Okay, and now, and don't you love that? I love how you can set it so that you go down right to the street view. I think this is like super cool. And then if you look here on the side, here's my text. Now remember, this is for a high school audience, right? So there's a lot of text there. I probably wouldn't give that to a grade 6 student, maybe not even a grade 7, maybe grade 7. And of course, I've got my images and I've got my research there. Now, note I've got a little arrow here on the right. So that means I can click on the arrows and I can go through and look at more images of this. I mean, look at that, right? Ancient Roman toilets. That's something else, right? Let's see. You can actually put in videos. Let's see if I can find one here that's got a video in there. I'm not really sure. Let's see. Let's go to the tomb of Tutankhamun. Okay, now it pulls us out. Oh, we're going from Italy to Egypt. Oh, that's super cool. All right. So note here, if I tap on this, right, there's a video. Now, usually you have a little icon that tells you it's a video, but now I can watch a video directly within my tour, which is kind of cool. I really like that a lot. And I can just, let me go back here. Let me escape that. And again, I've got all my text and this kind of thing. And of course, I've put this on my street view so that you can explore just a little bit. Sometimes they actually have the arrows so that you could do a bit of a tour. In fact, one that I know has got the arrows. Let's go to I believe. Oh, come on now. I know it's in here. Oh, I thought I had the Dead Sea Scrolls in here. Well, anyway, they'll go in there. I'll eventually put them in. There's one example. Another one that I think is, oh, by the way, let me show you the tour at the end of that here too, or the quiz, sorry. Very last one, I've got a slide, but right here, I've got in the bottom left, if you can see that. If I click on quiz, now I've got a quiz that students can go to. That's not allowing me out for a moment. I'll have to double check and see what that's all about. You can embed things in here too. You can embed quizzes. It's just a little bit more complicated. All right. Now let me come back here. I want to show one other thing. Here I'm going to go with the story of Christmas. Let me share this tab. Okay, and very similar. I've got like little tours from around the world. One thing is halfway through, I've put in like a little more context slide in there just to mix it up a little bit. And then at the end, I've got, like a little documentary video linked that students might want to look at. and that kind of thing. Okay, now let me just go to the next little thing. So if you want to learn how to build this, go ahead, click here. I've got how to build Google Earth projects. This is the old one, but it's the ideas are similar. Whoops. Okay, so so here's a tutorial on how to create your own Google Earth project. This is not a workshop or a session on how to make Google Earth projects, but here's a tutorial that shows you how to do it. Again, it's the older one. I'll be working on the new one, or the newer version of Google Earth projects a little bit later. Now let's talk about Google My Maps. This is a lot easier to use. Now, the one thing with Google My Maps, it's not as dynamic and interesting. It doesn't show you all this stuff that you can do, like with Google Earth projects, bouncing from one country to the other, going from looking at the Earth and moving with the bird's eye view down to another place. But it is quite dynamic. For example, you can, well, let's look at this, the American Revolution. I didn't create this one, but I thought it was an interesting sample of how to use maps. Here's a teacher that actually put together using one of the features of My Maps to block off the different states that had something to do. So if I click on each individual state, here they don't really have much text going up in here, but if I go back here, you can tap on the little icons that are going to tell you a little bit more about why the American Revolution broke out. But think you can do this, for example, with literature, right? Let me pull up an example. Panic in PETA. Here's one that a teacher made in Australia because they read this book about a couple of penguins going on a little tour. And they basically are telling the story of what happened as the story unfolded, kind of thing. So they're actually mapping the story. So think of like Around the World in 80 Days, right? I think that's Jules Verne. You could map that whole book as you're reading it with your students, right? Which is kind of cool. All right, let me come back to now. Here's another one. Let me share this tab. So this is something that my students had done. They were researching global conflicts around the world. They created scripts and documentary videos. So what we did was put it all into one map. And so here with Venezuela, for example, so we've got the detail and the text right here. In fact, I've got a Google Earth Projects version of this as well. Now, what you can do is include your, you could upload photos and videos and things like that to this. Now, what I want to do, and you can share that too with parents. You could tweet it out or put it on social media for the community to see. Now, what I want to do though is show that I created a Google form and had students put the information in on their own, and I took this data set and turned it into a map instantly. So I didn't have to use this map. And let me just zoom out here. I didn't have to create this map bit by bit, one by one. I just had the students fill in a Google form, and then I made the map just with a few clicks. You can do that from spreadsheets. You can actually make a Google My Map, which is cool, which means if you have the data set from, for example, the Center for Disease Control or something like that, you can quickly make a map and then have students use it in class. You can save a lot of time that way. And I'm going to show you how to do that in a moment, I think. Let me show you another sample here. Oh, all right. So I had to get access for this one. Okay, we're not going to be able to show you that one, but basically it was plate tectonics where students use the drawing tool in My Maps to create basically a map. Now, what I want to do is show you how you can take this data right here and turn it into a map really quickly. So bear with me here. I'm just going to copy the title. Now, this is the name of my file in a Google Sheet. Now, note that I've got the location for all of these. I've got the latitude and the longitude, and I've got like the different news feeds from where I get it. Plus, I have the location, the country. This is important. Now, this is coming from, let's see, back in 2018 is when I got the data, but it was from the bird flu from a couple years before. Now, let me show you how this works. Okay, just bear with me here. All right. So I'm going to share. So I'm sharing this tab here. I want you to see. So what I'm going to do is click New. And I'm going to choose My Maps. Okay, so now I'm going to choose here. Okay, so now I've got my new map. You might have to click on Create a New Map. So what I'm going to do here is click Import. I can change the title and all that stuff a little bit later, but I'm going to click on Import. And so what I'm going to do is click Browse. Whoops, I don't want to do that. I want to go from Google Drive. And I'm going to just paste the title of that Google Sheet, the file name. And okay, now this is the health data map that I want. I got this from a health website. I'm going to click Insert. Now I'm going to have certain things here. So I need to put the location in there. All right, so this is to position things. So if I click on Continue, pick a column for the title and place marks, I'm going to click Location as well, and I'm going to click Finish. And so now I have a map of all these different places. And when I tap, I get all the data that was in there. Now, remember, this is just very short, very simple data. But now I've got my map just from a Google spreadsheet, right? If any of these variables here had a lot more information in it, then it would have been all that detail would have been in here. And I can go in and I can change things like all items. If I want to change the color of my pins, for example, that's fine. Maybe I want to change icons to something else. You can, make all those changes a little bit later, title of your map and that kind of thing. So I think this is a really cool way to use Google My Maps. Remember, you can use it for social studies classes to look at data. You can upload things that you've seen in the news. Students read the news and then fill out a Google form, and then you create the map with that. And then you can go back and look at the different news stories later on, and maybe even compare to that same news story later as it progresses, right? Think about like elections or conflict, like the war in Ukraine or that kind of thing, as sad as those things can be. All right. Now, I do have a digital map making tutorial here as well. So if you want to learn how to do that, how to use Google My Maps, feel free to have a look at that. We got you covered. Okay. Now let's jump ahead. All right, now we're into the third thing here, Google Arts and Culture. And I think Google Arts and Culture needs to be given far more attention than it often is. Let me just keep moving along here. So essentially what Google Arts and Culture has done is they've paired up with organizations like Smithsonian Institute, National Geographic, Discovery, plus other companies to create content so that you can put yourself in, for example, the middle of museums around the world, or you can look at augmented reality of, things from, the past. I'm going to show you a few things that I think are just ridiculously cool within arts and culture, but there's a lot to explore, so I encourage you to explore. I could go on for an hour or two on arts and culture. They do have things like museums, AR, video games, end games, history, science, a whole pile of stuff. And playful activities too, especially for the younger ones. All right, so let's see. This is essentially what I've just said. Again, I want to highlight 360 games and 360 videos and augmented and virtual reality. So let's look at some AR first. Let me click on this augmented reality, and I'm going to share this with you later. So, okay, let me just say no thanks. Like, this is kind of cool, right? What did one of the, Neil Armstrong's spacesuit? I can actually zoom in on this. I mean, that's pretty neat, right? Wow. And right up until the bottom of the boots, actually. Isn't that cool? So let's say I want to find more AR stuff, right? Here, by the way, it's got some explanations and things like that. If I was to go to the search bar at the top and I just write AR, type AR, I want to look and find the different kinds of AR things they have. Okay, so there's pet portraits. You can see AR is a specific theme, the Big Bang. I could scroll down and see what else might have AR connected to it. I'm going to click on this middle one right here. Let's see. What do I want to see? I want to see stuff in history, or let's say animals, right? Maybe you're studying animals in your class. Whoa, dinosaurs. Okay, let's looking at ancient animals here. Hold on. Maybe some ones that exist today. Oh, yeah, stag beetle. Let's look at that. Oh, boy. Birds. I mean, this is kind of cool, right? Oh, wow. All right, swimming with sharks. Or actually, let's look. See, I'm getting excited here just looking at this stuff. Here, let me tap on that. Okay, now I'm looking at the bones of a blue whale, and this is 1 to 20 here. Look at that. Oh, that is cool. So think how you could incorporate that into a biology class, or maybe a class that you're doing with elementary kids. I mean, so this is from the Natural History Museum, but working in tandem with Google. That is cool. That deserves a little more time. Let's see what else we have down here, because they keep, excuse me, adding to this. Let me get some water here. Oh, a cute little anteater. Okay, look, and more on the Apollo mission and that kind of thing. Let's look at let's look at the Chauvet Cave. This looks pretty cool. All right, I'm going to enter the gallery here, and I've seen this before. This is obviously a redesign. They've got a little bit of info here, right? So you got your pop-up boxes on the side. This is neat. You can't go to the cave unless you spend thousands of dollars, right? And book a tour, from what I understand. So, again, another way that you can use arts and culture in your classes. Let me see what else. All right, so now I'm coming back to the slide deck here. Now let's look at 360-degree video. Close that one up. Okay, so what I like about this video, now this is right here within arts and culture, right? This is a 360-degree video, which is kind of cool. So let's just go. And here, let me put the audio on.
Because you want to create this vacuum that draws all the bad matter away from you.
We use the big old vacuum outside to create.
That's absolutely true. I forgot. Little vent valve.
Pulls air from the cabin down through that.
Right. So here, right in arts and culture, we've got a tour of what it's like to go to the bathroom in space, in the International Space Station, for example, or maybe in one of the shuttles. I don't know. Let me go back here. Okay. Again, now we're going to look at the next one, little advocacy. All right, so this one, Rapa Nui, Easter Island. This is actually one that is deliberately trying to share and preserve and protect the culture of Easter Island and the Moai that are there and that kind of thing. So Google Arts and Culture also has some kind of mission, if you will. So I think that's kind of cool as well. I'm not going to go through every single thing here because you can do that on your own. I do want, again, some more AR stuff, right? Look at that. I can zoom in. I mean, you can tell this was taken from a photograph and then digitized. I mean, that is really, really cool, right? Outstanding. I love this stuff. And let me zoom back and then pull this down a bit. All right. And back again to another link. So I want to go to stories here. And so within Google Arts and Culture, there's a whole pile of like stories that you could explore. I mean, if you click on explore right here, there's going to be loads of stuff you can look at. This is one example of a story about, the different technology and industry. What was the title of this one? History of Technology in 5 museums. So it's looking at different museums and, how they present the history of technology, which is kind of cool. I want to go up here because we're going to do the explore button. But first, I want to show you the nearby. If you click on that, this is going to tell you what museums are in the area that you might be at right now, which is kind of cool. If you click on, look, IG Tunnel, look at that. I was just there like about 2 months ago. Favorites. All right. If you got certain favorites that you want to add, you can do that. I tend not to do that. The play tab, you've got lots of games, right? Music, puzzles, trivia. Let's go with the music and see what happens here. Right, blob beats. This one's kind of funny. Let's go with K-pop dance, though. Let's see. It says learn to dance. Hold on. Let's go with musical canvas. Right. So if I launch the experiment, they call these experiments. Generate music to your drawings. Okay. So Let me first do a drawing here. Okay, let me go with all right, now generate music. Again, this is just for fun. It's for play, right? Generating a soundtrack inspired by my music. This is a brain break. That's what this is right here. Minimalist style. I'll use a few lines to depict smiling face. Here we go. Okay, that's kind of fun. That's kind of cool. All right, I'm going to get out of that, though. Let me escape. Yeah, come on, let me out. Let me out. It's not letting me out. Going to exit. There we go. So now I want to click on Explore. And if you click on Explore, this is where you can see like the different kinds of things like street views, 360 tours, historical figures, historical events, for example, art movements, that kind of thing. Use the, go to the Explore tab just to play around and see what's out there. You can actually save the photos and images that you like. You can create your own galleries. I've done this with my history classes, with galleries of images and things like that I want to use. Yeah, again, I'd say play around with it. Google Arts and Culture is wickedly cool. All right, let's... Google Story Spheres apparently was bought by another company, but not being used anymore. Bugs me. Story Spheres was a 360 image tool where you could embed audio, like your voice, and background music as well, and images and videos, and that was just really cool. And now it's gone because nobody was using it. Okay, ExpeditionsPro, the VR and AR tour catalog that existed from a really wonderful teacher in the United States, it's gone. I'm sorry. So I'm not going to get too much into teaching ExpeditionsPro. The VR headsets and that, they're very expensive. It's not happening so much in schools anymore, which is quite unfortunate. Until really Google ups its game in that, it's going to be harder to do. Kind of a bummer because I like making stuff in 360, but what can you do, right? Let's see. I'm just going to have a look at another tab here that I've got open that you can't see. Yeah, with a few other things. All right, so this was one of my shorter sessions. I do have a teaching SDGs. I'll just introduce this to you for a moment. It's a completely separate slide deck that you can go to, just with some ideas for teaching sustainable development goals. This is not the focus of this workshop, this session, but here's some ideas for SDGs and teaching SDGs in your class. Some assessment examples and activity examples, and that kind of thing, plus some links that you might want to use. All right, so let me just come back to the other deck. All right, so feel free to keep in touch now. Stick around. I'm going to put a couple of links in the comments here. One is going to be to a certificate to say that you've participated, even though this is a relatively short session, plus where you can get in touch with me and that kind of thing. So I'll paste all these things in a moment. Let me just stop sharing my screen and let me open up I'm working alone here. I don't have somebody moderating, so I'm going to share with you the slides deck, the participant form, as well as the link to the slide deck. Maybe I'll have to do those one at a time here. Let me just, okay, there's the slides deck with all the links to the things I've shown you here. This one is a link to Google Educator Groups Asia Pacific, and you can find all the other workshops and sessions that are still going on in real time today, but also they're going to stay on YouTube for a while. And lastly, the participant form. So if you're watching this and you want to get a form emailed to you directly, you can simply click on that. And let me just show you how it looks. There we go. All right, now let me just share my screen one more time. I'm going to share my entire screen so you can see all the 50 million tabs I have open right now. Okay, so this is Google Educator Group's Asia Pacific. For this event, we've got everything linked just on the main page here. A lot more sessions today than yesterday. And if you complete the form right up here, let me just click hide on that. All right, so all you have to do is put in your email address, put it in correctly, or you won't get your form emailed to you. Write your name as you want it to appear on the certificate. And then you're simply going to choose whichever session that you've attended or watched in the video for. And here you're going to click on the date, which today it's automatically set to the 12th. But if you watch something another day, then it's going to be another thing here. We can't keep the certificate open because it's going to take up too much space in my Gmail. So you're going to want to get this done today. All right, after watching. All right, so let me stop sharing my screen here. So that's it. Please have a look at some of the other Google Educator Group's Asia Pacific sessions that are going on. We've got them in Hindi, English, Filipino, Tagalog, right? As well as in Bahasa Malaysian, right? Way cool. So keep an eye on our website. We are going to have a main event coming up sometime later in the year, probably spring or summer. But we also have smaller events that we do throughout the year. And we would love for you to join us and kind of see the cool stuff that we're sharing. And hey, why don't you present for us at some point in time too? Look at that. I can see my screen's a little bit wonky there. All right. So this is Nate from Nagoya, Japan, GEG Nagoya, signing off. Hope you got some good ideas from this session. Have a lovely week.